bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, we are back. Hopefully, with working audio this time. We are talking about college basketball predictions. Pretty much how this thing goes is we are taking the four factors in the conference landscapes. We're looking at some Ken Palm and has some metrics data, trying to figure out where the best bets are. Just curious to see what you guys are looking at. And thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. Finally, we are working. All right. Yeah. So I mean, we've been doing this on TikTok for a long time, but obviously, right off paper, what up? What up? Obviously, with the TikTok ban going on here, and really because we want to get on YouTube anyway, just it's a better audience. If I'm being honest with you guys, we love having the discourse, and it's easier to kind of share these things. So, how this works is we go through the Ken Palm metrics, we go through the conference landscapes, all this stuff. What you're seeing, I'm going to show today from the landscape set is free on our website, btp-analytics.com. So you can always check this out for yourself, and then we'll be previewing some stuff there. So kind of get the ball rolling to show you guys how I approach some of this stuff. I'm looking at a couple of games today. First off, I think everyone's kind of interested about the Alabama-Kentucky game going on here. And so what I want to do is I want to orient you all to kind of this process. So what you're looking at are these efficiency landscapes. And again, these are just on our website. So you can see if you go to the website, College Basketball Conference Landscapes, this is all free. And we updated this last night with the newest Ken Palm metrics. But what happens is we look at 5 things, right? So we look at the 4 factors. So shooting, which is measured by effective field goal percentage, rebounding, turnovers, and free throw rate, because those are the 4 things that are most probable and most predictive for a team winning a game. Now, covering gets a little bit tricky, but step 1 is who's going to win. And so we look at this. I want to come down to the SEC, right? And so kind of what you're looking over here. Let me know if that's kind of hard to see. I'll open this in a new window. It's just easier to share. But we look at Alabama and Kentucky. I mean, these are 2 teams that are pretty damn good, right? Obviously, what you're looking at, Alabama, it's a great offensive team, but so is Kentucky. So just get you oriented. What you're looking at here on the x-axis is how good these teams are offensively. So the closer to the right they are, the better they are on offense. And the closer to the top they are, the better they are on defense. So in the SEC play, Auburn's the best offensive team statistically in the SEC. Tennessee's the best defensive team so far. And then these green boxes, so these are the elite. So this is good on offense, good on defense in terms of how they rank on conference measures. And then the red box or the pink box, these are teams that are bad on offense and bad on defense per conference measurements or conference standards. These red lines are national averages, right? And so what you're looking at here, when people talk about like, oh, yeah, Ken Palm says that these teams can win the March Madness if they're, this good on offense and this good on defense. Like these are the stats that they're talking about. It's more of a rank, but these are the raw numbers. But this is what they're talking about here. So I just want to start by saying the SEC is every team in the SEC is above average. So even though like the LSUs and the South Carolinas and the Vandies are poor per conference standards, these dudes are still higher than average statistically from, all the teams in the country. And so kind of what I look at here are, first and foremost, overall, how good are these teams scoring and how good are these teams defending? Alabama is slightly better defensively than Kentucky. Kentucky is ever so slightly more efficient on offense or better on offense. Now, with that being said, though, Ken Palm has this as a 2-point Alabama favorite right now. And I think last I checked, Alabama were 2-point dogs. And so as a matter of fact here, let's take a look. The first thing I like to do is see, okay, what are the best odds? So what are the best numbers? And if you guys haven't seen there, so we have an odds screen. We use unabated. If you use code BTB, you get a 5 free-day trial. But my first thing is, all right, let's look at Alabama here. So you can see here, best lines are, looks like plus 2.5, kind of across the board here. Let's scroll over a little bit. Yeah, so at all the rec books, you can see here Caesars, FanDuel, DraftKings is throwing up a +2, but everyone else, if you're going to be an Alabama backer, plus 2.5 is the best line. Stay away from DraftKings. But if you want to be a Kentucky backer today, -2 is the best line. You probably want to go to DraftKings for that. And if you're like, hey, listen, I don't care about the spread, let's go money line here. You can see here the best money line odds for Bama look to be at BetMGM, kind of across the board, 120s across the board, except for FanDuel. And if you want to be a Kentucky backer, it looks like the best money line values at ESPN Bet at a minus 141. So, there's that. Now, with that being said, though, I look at the four factors. So, first and foremost, I think where there's going to be a sort of advantage for Kentucky, let's go over to shooting real quick. So shooting is the effective field goal percentage. So that means how good are they at twos and threes, right? And so when you come down to the SEC, I think we all kind of think of Alabama as a live and die by the three kind of team. And that's kind of who they are. But the problem here is you look here. So again, offensive, the better you are to the right you are, the better you are offensively. The closer to the top you are, the better you are defensively. This is where Alabama shines defensively. Okay. And I don't think Alabama gets a lot of credit for that play because they're putting up a ton of points. Their opponents are putting up a ton of points. But the reason that is, though, is because Alabama has the fastest tempo in the country, right? And so when you get more possessions, of course, you're going to put up more points. Even if you play pretty good defense, it's just more opportunities for your opponent to score the ball because you're giving the ball back to them a little bit more. Kentucky is a little bit lower, a little bit, poorer on defense all around, and I think that's can be the difference here for me at least. That's why I'm on Alabama. I actually have Alabama money line. I know on the road here, it's definitely gonna be a hostile environment. I'm not saying it's going to be by any means an easy win. I do expect a tight game here, but to me, first and foremost, the shooting is going to be the difference. Alabama defensively can really kind of hold their own. We go over to rebounding, and this is the second most important of the four factors. We come down here to rebounding. We look at the SEC again. And so what you're looking at here is offensive rebounding and essentially allowing offensive rebounds, right? And so teams in the top here, they don't allow the opposing teams to have offensive rebounds. Teams towards the right get a lot of offensive rebounds. Bama, right where you want to be, right? So they, for a conference standpoint, they are pretty good at getting their offensive rebounds, getting second chance points. Kentucky is actually, Kentucky is actually the best at preventing offensive rebounds for the opponent. So this is going to be something where, can they limit Alabama's second chance points? Because even though Kentucky's not great at getting offensive rebounds on a statistical measure, they are pretty damn good at preventing their opponents to doing that. So again, looking at all this, Ken Palm, let's go over here real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll switch my screen over. Okay. So again, Ken Palm has this as a 2-point game for Kentucky, given it as a 55% chance for Kentucky to win. Given all those things, I kind of like my odds here as a Bama backer, right? And so that's kind of where my head's at here. Again, mostly coming from the efficiency landscape, and I think the last thing too, Kentucky gets a pretty good rap about their 3-point defense. And if you look at here, though, so Alabama, right? We think about them as a 3-point shooting team, but you look at their 3-point percentage, they're 32%. Here, see, that's a little hard to see. They're 32% here. And Kentucky is the best at guarding the three. But if you look here at their percentage of points, though, their point distribution, we're more efficient at actually scoring twos, right? Which is Kentucky. That's kind of one of their weak points here. So people think Alabama's going to live and die by the three, and I get that they do shoot a lot of threes. It's 48.6% of their field goal attempts, but I don't think Kentucky has the things in place here to truly stop this Alabama team at their true strengths here. So I'm on Alabama -2 or Alabama money line. Ken Palm has Kentucky -2, so do with that as you will. But yeah, just curious, what other games are you guys looking at today? Anything you guys want to talk about? Any sort of breakdowns or just questions you have in general about some of the matchups? Again, looking at Ken Palm data, looking at the four factors, really kind of anything you want. In the meantime, I know another one that I'm on here is Auburn versus Georgia. That's one Ken Palm has, I believe, Georgia as a 10-point favorite, but Janai Broome is injured, right? And Janai Broome is one of their, not one of their, he is their best player. And so what does that actually look like here? I'm looking at Georgia to kind of do a backdoor cover at home at +5.5. Oh, one thing too, if you're thinking about betting the Kentucky game, speaking of injuries, trying to get an update here. But last I saw, Lamont Butler was a game time decision for Kentucky. So that could be a potentially huge deal because he is he they lose a lot of their possessions go through him. And so we'll see what they'll do there. They're supposed to have Carr back today. He's also one of their best scorers with some back issues, I believe, but he's probable. I think he's going to go be just fine. But the Lamont Butler injury could be a huge thing that I don't think is getting factored into the line just yet. So, all right, guys, leave some comments. Let me know, what do you guys think about today? Any other games you're sort of looking at? Any other things you kind of want to chat through? We're going to be doing this stuff pretty much weekly now that football season's sort of winding down. So if there's things that you guys want to look at, let me know, and I'll be happy to discuss through, and we'll get the kind of the whole crew back here. Daniel, do you mean Auburn as a 10-point fave? Yeah, here. So let me go back here. Let me explain what I mean by that. So let me share a screen. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so Daniel, looking at Ken Palm. So just as a let me rewind a little bit. So when you guys look at the lines here, so there's, and you guys probably know this, let me know, but the big names, right? Obviously, everyone has heard of Ken Palm, but there's Ken Palm, Bart Torvik, Massey Ratings, and Haslam Metrics are kind of my big four. There's more out there, but those are sort of my big four. And I think what you see here is sportsbooks pretty much copy and paste Ken Palm as their opening lines. And so it's really hard to get edges in the market sometimes, especially if you're trying to use just these sources, and it makes sense that the sports books are kind of starting there. So if you look here, though, Ken Palm has Auburn as a 10-point favorite over Georgia. However, Ken Palm does not factor in injuries. He does not factor in injuries. So that's what I mean by, even though it's a 10-point favorite here, the market is opening up a lot smaller, which is what you're seeing exactly. Auburn as a 5.5-point favorite in the market. And I think a lot of that is because of Janai Broome, right? And so when you look at Auburn's distribution here, so Janai Broome, right? So he's the go-to guy. So he has these sort of breakdowns on what percent of possessions are these guys used on, right? So greater than 28%, so over a quarter of their possessions run through Janai Broome. And this is not like he got the ball and he passes somebody else. It's he's actively involved in this offensive play and the outcome of said play. And so I think that's kind of what you're looking at here, why there's such a discrepancy between what you're seeing there and what you're seeing in the market. That's what I meant by that. So, and this is why I'm kind of going through and backing Georgia as a dog here at home, because again, if you take out someone who is who's responsible for over a quarter of their possessions, what does that look like? Now, yes, Broome's been out for a couple of games here. Auburn has had chances to play without him and kind of get a rotation without him. But again, you come back down to, for me, it's going to be defensively, right? Auburn's key to their success is that they are a great offensive team. They are the best offensive team in the SEC, bar none. But they're on par with Georgia, or I say Georgia's on par with them defensively. And so when you get into a hostile environment and you have a team that is pretty damn good defensively, again, top 4 in the conference, well above average nationally, can they put enough pressure on Auburn to sort of make this game a lot closer in an unfriendly environment? So that's kind of my sort of guess here. Again, this is not, we don't have the model running just yet for college basketball. So these are all just my predictions. These aren't, anything else beyond using Ken Palm and using some other advanced metrics and making my own guess. But that's kind of where I'm at. Daniel, you got a side on that? Are you going through one way or the other for Auburn or Georgia? But yeah, so that's kind of how I look at it too. And then the other one I'm looking at is Houston and UCF. This one here, Ken Palm has as a 12-point game. I just Houston's just so hard for me to not back here, especially against some of these lower teams here. So UCF, they're not a slouch. Don't get me wrong. I want to be clear here. But again, um, oh, when you look at Houston compared to UCF in terms of their overall ability to like produce offense and defense, I mean, clearly we all know Houston has a defensive team here, but offensively, UCF they can't do either well, right? That's why they're in this red quadrant. This is where you don't want to be at. Yes, UCF's a better than average team for offense and defense, but there's certainly no Houston. So I like them at 13.5. All right, you're personally staying away, but I appreciate it. Okay, but are you on any particular games today, or are you thinking about anything? For me, like I love the slate, and I guess I want to show you. I want to share with you guys too. Again, this is me as a fan. This is not our model plays like we have for football. Although our basketball model stuff is coming soon. But I look at a whole slate of basketball games and I get excited. Like, yeah, we got NFL today. I'm going to watch the Chiefs and Texans and all that stuff. But I do love me some college basketball. It's probably one of my favorite sports to watch, just from a pure fan perspective. I am looking at auto fading West Georgia for the time being. So West Georgia is a brand new D1 school. They do have, I think, 3 wins on the season, so they're not like getting blown out by everybody. But anytime you go from D2 to D1, I mean, it's just such a hard transition. You have no NIL money. You have no sort of, continuity in the conference. West Georgia's having a hell of a time, as they should be. It's not a knock on them. But I am on Stetson today over West Georgia, which is a game I guarantee you nobody is talking about, nor should they be. But Stetson's a 1-point favorite. Last time they played, I think they won by like 16, which again doesn't mean they're going to win by 16 again. But West Georgia is just having a hard time as a D1, a new D1 school. So I'm on auto fade, but I'm on Stetson -1 for that one as well. But yeah, man, so I guess while we're just talking, I'm not sure if you guys have heard the 4 factors. So I'm just going to go through that real briefly. So again, we talked about shooting, that's effective field goal percentage. And so this means not just how good are you at shooting twos. So like if you do a field goal percentage, here's the problem, right? Field goal percentage is taking all of your shots and weighing them equally. So let's say you have 2 teams, right? You have team A and team B. Team A, they both go 4 from 10, right? But team A shot all 2s and team B shot all 3s, right? So even though they both have a 40% field goal percentage, right? Team A scored 8 points, but team B scored 12 points. So clearly team B is winning. That's why you need effective field goal percentage, because it kind of weights them differently. And it shows you that, team A in that example would still have a 40% effective field goal percentage, but team B would have a 60% effective field goal percentage. So that's why I like using these charts, because it shows you by conference, like who's really the best shooting team. And one thing I want to keep out, I don't know if you guys are looking at early March Madness stuff. I know they had a loss recently, but there are some Big Ten teams that I definitely have my eyes on. Michigan had a tough loss against Maryland, but in terms of the odds, though, Illinois is it's a feisty team not keeping on my radar. And then you have the usual suspects. Like in the ACC, you see Duke here is kind of in the league of their own. But don't sleep on Pitt, and don't sleep on SMU to kind of make a deep conference run at least. I'm not sure come tourney time how deep they're going to go, but conference play, I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do here. All right, so kind of looking at any other matchups though. Just curious to see. I'm not really seeing much on the board that I'm like super stoked about. I am an Arizona fan. That's why this one's highlighted. U of A is my team, Wildcat through and through. Texas Tech game, I'm probably not going to bet this one. I'm rooting for. I think Arizona's a sneaky good team. They had a really tough start, and T-Tech's no slouch, but I might be rooting for Arizona today. I may be sprinkled a little bit on, but I'm not sure if there's any other matchups that really kind of strike your guys' eye. But yeah, let us know kind of what you all want to see more of. You like these landscapes? You like the kind of the breakdown? Do you like kind of going through some of these stats and seeing how these teams match up? And do you like just looking at the odds, right? If it's something where it's like, hey, I just kind of want to know if I want to bet a certain team, where in the market are the best prices. We're happy to kind of go through that stuff for you guys, look at certain matchups, help you line shop, because that's the biggest and best thing in terms of trying to find value and winning long term. So let us know. I'll probably do this for like another 5 minutes until tip off hits, because again I am on Alabama today, so I do want to catch that game. So let us know any other comments, any other games you guys are looking at, anything else you guys want to talk about in general about college basketball. I guess while we're waiting for the comments, I do want to have one quick shameless plug, if you don't mind. So again, on our website at btb-analytics.com, we do have these landscapes, but we are going to also launch this college basketball tool that I'm really excited about. So what this is it's taking our data, our methods, our value framework, and our sort of modeling, along with Ken Palm, Bart Torvik, Massey, all these other folks. And it's making a table that this is a screenshot example, but what it'll do is it'll spit out a table and you can sort and you can see, okay, hey, where are the biggest edges in terms of spreads, money lines, and then we'll also have totals as well. And so every day it's going to upload and then it's going to automatically update every 5 minutes. So when the new lines come in, you'll have the best calculations, the best edges. And we're going to launch this completely for free for a week, just give people a chance to test it out. I think it's super cool. Again, someone who likes basketball, it's really hard to keep up with 364 teams. And so this is an easy way for you to kind of figure out who's who, where the edges are, and what are the best bets for today. So we'll be launching that. But if you sign up today, again, it's completely free. There's no credit card needed, nothing. You'll get a free trial. So let us know what you think about that. But again, other than that, just kind of hanging out for a little bit and seeing what else you guys want. Otherwise, I'm going to hop off and enjoy the Saturday and hope you guys do too. So thank you for tuning in. We'll do more of this stuff here. But again, let us know in the comments, DM us, shoot us something, on the website. Let us know what you guys want to see, and we're happy to talk about it. So if there's no other requests, there's no other matchups you guys want to talk about, I'm going to head out. So hope you guys have a great Saturday.